Hello, and welcome to tonight's episode of Party of Two, where a married couple takes on a world of gods and monsters. I am your GM for this story arc. I am Hayley.
And I am your player for this story arc. I am Weston. I'll be playing as the cleric sorcerer.
Yes, and I have a GMPC named Andoriana, who is a tiefling paladin, champion. Oh, Pathfinder people, please do not burn me at the stake for that. Champion fighter. Oh my gosh.
It's a change from first edition to second edition. It's a change for everyone.
I am trying. Anyway, so we have a couple of announcements before we get into tonight's stream. First off, thank you so much for being here. We are very happy to quote unquote see you guys. But our first announcement, we are so stinking close.
We're getting closer.
So
Come on.
close. We have like 7 followers, or 7 or 8.
I think it's 8.
Eight. We need 8 followers to hit our goal of 50 to do our special giveaway for our amazing critical coasters. Let me show you what they look like.
I got one too.
Oh, you have one? You have yours too?
Yes.
Aw, look, we need
Coasters. Woo.
So these are the coasters. Look at the coasters. Hi, Reaper.
You could have one of these, Reaper.
You could get your friends to come follow.
Yes.
And you could get one. Anyway, they're made out of 100% bamboo. Very good for the environment. The backing is out of cork board, and I make them. So they come directly from me to you. It is a labor of love.
Yes.
Complete labor of love. Secondly, we are still doing our donation drive for Utah Parent Center, which is an organization that helps parents with kids with autism. We have utilized their resources, as our oldest is autistic, through IEPs, which is schooling stuff, legal things, trying to figure out the world of having a child with autism.
What your rights are and what what you can ask for, because a lot of times you don't even realize you can ask for certain things.
Yeah, so they are a completely nonprofit organization, which means they rely heavily on donations. So if you feel like you are in the giving mood, please feel free to donate below us in the About section.
Yes.
Yes. And that's me. Off to Weston.
All right. So VOD will be up on Friday.
Yep.
So it'll be up Friday morning, so that way you can watch it when you're not working on your Friday and just waiting for the weekend to start. And then we will also be releasing additional episodes of the podcast that day. Episodes 11 and 12, which will include the recap and the first episode of the new arc, will get put on podcast on this Friday.
Let's be honest. I will get it up as fast as humanly possible. So hopefully it's before Friday. Hopefully it's before Friday. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yes. Friday.
So yes, we will get those. But if you have not, again, if you are not completely up to date on the story arc, know that things from arc 1 will come back. So
yes, everything that has led up to now, while not directly impacting what's happening at the moment in the storyline, is going to be important later. But we understand you don't necessarily have the time to watch 30 hours of gameplay. So
there is a recap video.
That's what I was about to say.
That has been that is on our YouTube channel. It's about 8 minutes long, and it'll take you through all the main story points of the first arc. So if you're looking, if you know someone who's like, oh yeah, but I don't know what's happened so far. Well, in 8 minutes, they can know what's happened so far.
Yep, it's all the highlights, which is awesome. So go to our YouTube channel, Party of Two RPG. Was that?
I think that's it.
Everything?
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Absolutely not.
Are you ready for what's coming at you?
Yes, I'm ready to go become a murder hobo somewhere.
Dear Lord, you had better not. I will not allow it.
You know me. I'm not.
Go ahead and roll the tape.
And rolling.
Welcome back. So, last time on Party of Two.
Yes.
You and Anna went on a little kind of mini mission to find Farmer Magdalene, who had gone missing. She had been there when you arrived at the safe house in the middle of the forest in Ravenel, and when you woke up the next morning, she was gone. Through a fairly intense series of combat against a Feywild creature that I'm not going to attempt to say because I said it wrong about 50 times last stream. Like tigers, you did manage to defeat them.
No,
However,
I did not. I did not manage to defeat them.
I'm doing the recap. As did go down and needed to be saved. However, everything was all right. And they did find Farmer Magdalene in the home of a fairly mysterious woman named Alea in a golden roofed, beautiful home in the middle of the forest. Without much to go on other than Alea and Farmer Magdalene were very good friends. They recouped from their combat, and Az was given a little bit of a mission by Alea, asking him to please help find a leader within the Bellflower Network who had gone missing. And the rumors that there might have been an infiltration as members of leadership had been going missing throughout Cheliax in the middle of the smuggling operations to get halfling slaves out. As we ended, the party and Farmer Magdalene now was returning to the safe house back through the forest into the meadow and grove that they had been at originally. What would you like to do?
Have we made it through the barrier yet, or are we still walking through the interesting woods?
As you go through the woods, you realize that the barrier is gone.
Okay. All right. I will turn to Farmer Magdalene. Well, sounds like you know the way better than we do to get back. We followed the sunflowers, but lead the way.
Of course. She does a quick look around to kind of get her bearings, and
the halflings are waiting. Let us hurry.
I can imagine that they are, and they are probably worried at this point.
Yes.
So, Farmer Magdalene does a real quick, just look around, gather her bearings very quickly, and then just starts walking. She is surprisingly agile and quick for the halfling that she is, and she is able to traverse the terrain, which would be a little bit more rough terrain, but she's able to handle it really quickly. So within just a few moments, she is like going.
Am I able to follow?
Yes, you are able to follow, but she's like woman on a mission. She is going through the forest. As you guys continue through and you and Anna are following, Anna does turn to look at you and say, so I guess the barrier is down.
Yes.
We killed the creatures, so that makes sense if that's why Alea put it up to begin with.
Yes, at this point would not be needed,
No.
I would imagine. Well, I am not sad to avoid it. That was not
No.
fun to walk through.
Getting sick is not exactly something that you like. Well,
No.
anyone likes,
Anyone.
of course.
You
And
did not
the
like it
second time,
either.
I know the second time I went through, it was a lot more uncomfortable than the first.
Are your injuries
I'm
all
fine.
cared for?
I'm fine.
Very,
I'm
very good.
you too?
If we are going to be traveling together for any length of time, we might want to work on our teamwork. I am a little tired of being knocked out.
Anna kind of like nods and understanding and is
You are trained for combat. I am trained for espionage.
I know.
But
and
as we travel through these woods, we might need to engage in combat more often than I am experienced with.
no, that's true. That's true. We'll have to discuss it. I
Yes.
guess. I mean, it's not like we can do training.
Well, we are in the
drills.
middle of the woods. I imagine that the travel to whatever our destination is will take time.
Unless they have a transportation circle, that would be really nice. Have you experienced one?
No. I have heard Titus had used at times. I have not.
Oh. Well, they're actually quite interesting, and they're very nice, and I would like to not have to travel through the forest, so if they...
I
ask Farmer Magdalene if we have one.
knowing the Bellflower Network, I personally would doubt it, but
I mean,
we can see.
We are in Rivendell now. We're not in
Yes.
Cheliax anymore, so maybe it's a total pipe dream. You're probably right, but still.
We can ask. I would prefer not to walk through the woods for weeks.
Yes, and she kind of adjusts in her shield, or not shield.
Her
Oh
breastplate?
goodness, her breastplate, and is like, yes, I agree. I would not like to walk.
That looks very hot.
It is. It's not exactly comfortable. So yes. So as you go through the forest, there's nothing of note. You hear the birds going. Go ahead and give me a perception check really quick.
Well, as hearing her say that, he is going to, well, I could help with that a little.
What, with making it uncomfortable?
Yes.
You're going to make it uncomfortable.
With the heat,
Oh, with the heat.
if
Okay.
you would like.
How?
And I'm going to go ahead, since we're getting towards the end of the day, and I'm going to use resist energy, which can give her a plus 5 resistance to fire, to heat, and so that way then she will be perfectly comfortable in her armor.
All right.
Take it as a thank you for your help.
How do you cast this on her?
Oh geez, resist energy. Okay, that's one of my. With that, all he does is he takes his hand and he touches it to her. He's like, one moment. And he touches it to her chest, right above where her heart would be.
Okay.
And she feels from there just this cooling sensation, as suddenly what was hot is now less so.
Can you do this all over the place? Like, could you do it to my clothing as well?
It is to you, not
It's
to
to
the
me.
armor. Yes. It is a bit more powerful spell. So if we are, in danger, I would not want to do it. But we are getting close to the end of the day, and I will rest most likely soon and be able to recuperate.
Well, thank you, Az. This is quite wonderful. And she
Yes.
definitely, there's a little bit more of a spring in her step as she's walking forward, and there's a rejuvenation from the fact that she is not blisteringly hot at this point. But give me a perception check really quick.
All right. That is an 8 with plus 12 is a 20.
Okay.
Dirty 20.
As you look around, you notice a distinct absence of that foreign alien feeling that you had before, that you had when you had walked into the forest originally and felt that is now gone.
It now feels like a normal forest.
It now just feels like a normal forest with birds twittering, and you can hear the slight scuffling of small rodents and whatnot in the underbrush as you guys move quickly through the forest itself. The other thing that you do see an absence of is the sunflowers. Those are now gone.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
So you get out of the canopy as you get closer and closer to the meadow. The canopy gets less and less dense. The trees get a little sparser apart from each other, and the sunlight is streaming through much better, and you feel more of an airflow, and you come out into the meadow, and there is the safe house hut kind of thing.
Can I use perception to see if everything's as we left
Yes,
it?
please do.
That's a 2. We got stopped by the pen. hit the pen. Can I?
Yeah, go ahead and
Did
reroll
that-
it. Oh my god.
There, I only got a 10, so it didn't turn into a nat 20 or anything like that.
Okay.
So that would be 10 plus 12 is 22.
22. Everything looks basically the same. There's nothing really that is disturbed. You do hear the halflings chit-chatting with each other back on the backside by the garden at the house. And you notice that everything seems very calm. There isn't a lot of stress right now happening. It has only been a few hours since you guys left.
Good. As does call out and says, "We are back. I told you it would not be that long."
And you see Tip's head pops out from behind the house, and she says, "Oh!" And she turns back
The
to...
Farmer Magdalene is here, as I said she would be.
Yeah, she turns back really quickly, and you hear just the muffled sound of speaking, and then all three of the halflings come back around, and Tip comes up and is very exuberant. She says, "Oh, Farmer Magdalene, you will be so proud of what we did today in the garden." And as if she's not even paying attention to the fact that Farmer Magdalene was gone, she reaches out, grabs Magdalene's hand, and takes her back by the garden and begins showing her the work that they had done in the hours that they had been tasked with the garden. They have weeded and pruned back some of the vegetables stalks, and they pulled a lot of the vegetables that were ripe and things that needed to be moved around a little bit. They did manage to find the well that is at the back of the property and bring the water out. So they have done an incredible job at taking care of this garden while you guys were gone. And Farmer Magdalene says, "Thank you so much. This is absolutely wonderful. I assume you all worked in some form of agriculture back where you were previously?" And Tip nods, and she said, "Yes, I was in the kitchens, and Steve, he was out in the farther farming areas in actual Cheliax, and he would come into the Citadel every day with that crop that had been taken. And then Brennan, he kind of just went wherever was needed, so he did get a lot of very random skills." And she kind of looks at him with like this very strange, like suspicious look, but kind of like wipes it off and is like, "But yes, we have all worked in that." And Farmer Magdalene says, "You've done a wonderful job. Thank you so much. Let's all go inside and have a meal from this wonderful food that you have prepared. Well, taken out of the ground for us. And we will let Az and Anna rest a little bit from their adventure." And she takes the three halflings, and they all go inside and leaves you and Anna kind of just standing there at the side of the house.
As they walk back, and they're now just Az and Anna. He turns to her. "Do you have any very specific you want to go after this?"
Not really. And she turns around and starts undoing the straps to the breastplate, and starts to kind of remove the outer stuff, and she's taking the sheath off and whatever. So she's just doing the normal like removal of armor as you're
Can I help?
talking.
Do you need help?
Sure, if you would like.
I have helped tie this with armor before.
Yes, absolutely. And she kind of lifts her hair and pulls it back and over her shoulder and turns around as she's finishing up all the buckles in the front. She kind of leaves you to do the ones in the back.
As starts on it, because signifiers a lot of times actually will have armor.
Yeah,
so he begins helping, very well acquainted with how to remove armor, where all the buckles are and everything like that to secure it. And so he helps her remove that, because it takes a while.
Half an hour if you don't have assistance to remove a full plate. Wow. She doesn't have full plate on.
I don't think it's that long in Pathfinder terms,
I thought it was. Is it not?
I think
well, it takes a while.
It takes a while.
It's halved. The point I was trying to say was it's
halved if I help, yes.
If someone helps. So in a fairly quick amount of time, you guys are able to do that. But while you are removing the armor, she does continue speaking and says, "Well, You know, honestly, I'm still incredibly uncomfortable being near the hole in the mountain.
Yes.
That is still there.
So close to the citadel.
Yes, we're very close to the citadel, and
Well, I do not think we will be here very long.
no, so my only real desire is to get away and to get farther into farther into Ravenel and get closer to safety. I would not be surprised if they have sent.
I would not either. I do not think they will know where we are
As long
at the moment, but we
everything
will need to move quick.
everything at this moment rests on Captain Trionis and Brutus
Yes.
and what they have told them.
And if they left Titus alive, which I would not be surprised if they did not kill him. Even if they did defeat him, I would doubt they would kill him.
Probably not. Not a fellow signifier, not a
No.
fellow member of the
No.
Order and the Council. There's no way for us to know.
Well, let us... I can only imagine that Magdalene has plans. Tonight, we need to ask her where she thinks we should go.
Yeah. Speaking of, what did Leia hold you back for?
Oh, business of the network? Some possible issues of North. I want to ask Magdalene about more details. I will let you know if it becomes more than rumor. But
Alright.
there are apparently some issues up north.
Yeah,
I
Alright.
guess I should ask, are you interested in the network, in helping the network more?
honestly,
As long as it takes you farther from Cheliax. We are good at hiding people from them.
right, so now all the armor's off,
Yes.
and she is just in regular, like, leather tunic and all that, and she turns around and leans against the house.
I do have a quick question. As we're
Yes.
taking off the armor, perchance she still has the sash that we found in the crypt under the in the caverns underneath the citadel.
Yeah, it's in the house.
It's in the house. Okay.
Yeah, she didn't take it with you guys.
All right, cool. I was wondering.
On your excursion.
Alright.
Yeah, that's in the house. So she leans back against the house and kind of puts a foot up, and you can see she's deliberating. She's trying to decide something. And with a really deep sigh, she says, "Last night you tried to get answers out of me about who I am, about where I'm from, what I want.
In 100% honesty, I did not want those answers in that. All I needed to know was if you are a danger to the network. I needed a yes or no, and you gave me the answer.
So do you not want... Okay.
If you would like, I am very willing to listen, but that
You
is your
don't
choice.
care all that much, then.
No, it is not that. I do not want you to feel like you must.
I don't
One's
feel like
secrets
I
are
must.
one's own to give or keep.
Well, that's true. And I have a sister. I haven't
In
seen...
the Hell Knights?
No. When we were 10, well, when I was 10, she was 8.
we were. I'm just realizing now. I don't think I've ever talked to anybody about this. We were in a very small community at the borders of Cheliax and Isgar.
Which, Isgar.
Yes. To the east, and
Yes.
we were running. I'm not exactly sure from what. I was young, but we had left our home in Taldor and travelled all the way down the continent through Isgar and settled on the border near like right on the border in Cheliax.
I had thought that your accent was unique. It was not Chilaxian.
No.
I wondered
it's not.
where the Taldoran accent came from, but this makes sense.
Yeah, so we moved there when I was young, and my parents were very outspoken about their faith.
Which faith?
Their faith in Pharasma.
Ah.
And when I was a girl, when I was very young, 3 or 4, I was devoted to her in Taldor.
That is not an approved Chilaxian religion.
Yes, I know.
Well, most people in Chilax don't care, but would they not give lip service to Asmodeus?
No, and not only did they not give lip service, they spoke out against him.
Oi. Yeah.
So when I was 10, the guards came in the night, the Inquisition, from the Hell Knight Order, and they took my parents away, but no, I guess I should tell you everything. They didn't take them away, they killed them right in front of me. I hid my little sister so she didn't have to watch, and after they were dead and our home was burnt down, they took me and Sia.
That is your sister?
Yes. And they separated the two of us. I was sent to a monastery because I was such a fighter, and they thought they could use that to good use, and Sia went somewhere, and I have never seen her since. So you asked me what I want. What I want is to find her.
You
And
do
just
not know.
find out if she's even alive.
You do not know where she is?
No, they took her. I was 10. There was nothing I could do.
The Order of the Pyre, I've imagined. They pride themselves as executioners of cults, they claim.
Yes.
More so persecutors of all things not Chilaxian.
Yes, there was a signifier with them that was particularly nasty. But
So you do not know where?
Sia is? No.
They did not take her?
No, they did. But I don't know where she is. They didn't leave her with me. They took her away, so... And she kind of kicks off of the house and kind of shuffles her feet a little bit and says, so that's what I want. So I'm fine right now, honestly, going wherever. Being a guard for the Bellflower Network is fine. But I know I most likely will have to go back to Cheliax at some point to find out what happened to her.
I'd like to use diplomacy.
Okay.
6 plus 9, but 18.
Okay.
So wait, actually, I don't think it's It's not plus 12. It's
Because
plus
it goes
11.
really
It's one
high.
less. It's one less. So 17. And so he looks at her. The network has eyes and ears everywhere in Chilex. If you want to find your sister, there are few groups better able to help than the network.
Probably. We can see if they can find her, if she's even alive. She might not be alive anymore.
If they took her, is she as you?
What do you
Is
mean?
she a tiefling?
No,
There's none of the demon blood?
no. She is as human can be.
If they took her, there is a good chance that she was sold. And if she was sold, then that is the Bellflower Network's purview. That is our focus, not just halflings. Though the largest population of slaves is halflings.
In Cheliax.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if she is a slave, then that is what we do.
All right. If you think you can find her, honestly, I kind of gave up hope after a while. I tried to find her. I tried to get information, and
Stay with us for a time and let us see what we can do.
all right.
The Hell Knights they generally do not kill what they think they can use.
That's true. That's why I was still alive.
Yes.
Little horns and all. And she reaches up and pats her little horns on top.
Let us talk to Magdalene.
All right.
We can get the eyes and ears open.
Mm-hmm.
It will take time, but it's a start.
That's true. That's true. And then suddenly you hear the door out in the front kind of slam shut, and you hear Farmer Magdalene's footsteps coming down across the patio and around the corner, and she says, "Are you two done talking yet? Because we've got dinner and stuff inside."
Just one moment, Magdalene.
Yes.
Before we go in, what's happening in Carthago? Quintargo?
You see her just kind of like, That is a discussion that you should not even need to have. And she looks into the forest a little bit and just kind of shakes her head. Let's go inside and eat. I don't want to involve the others.
Yes.
So let's wait until after
We are
we are
in
fed
accord on
and
that.
and watered, as it were, and then we can discuss it.
Yeah.
Okay. So all three of you then
Start to walk in.
okay go inside and
As we do get into the house, and if I remember, we're coming in from the front, right?
Mhm.
So as we're there, I do look up and remember where Anna's room is. I do turn to her. Anna, I remember that we found something in the caverns under the citadel. There was a
yeah
cowl.
yeah just a second, so I'll go
Shall we
find it.
find?
Yeah, just a second. And she takes off into the room and she brings back the bag, and while she's kind of doing that and begins rummaging through the bag, the table is spread, all of the wonderfulness. There's a lot of obvious garden essentials, and there are jerked meats and salted meats and some no fresh chicken or anything like that, unfortunately. But there is everything else that will make a perfectly fine meal. for you
Well, and
guys.
one of them mentioned that she worked in the kitchens, so I'm sure she could figure something
Yeah,
out.
so she figures something out good. But so as Anduriana is pulling the bag out, everybody sits down and she begins pulling out the different items that had been in the bag, and you see the small trinket boxes and the rocks and the precious stones or the precious gems and stuff. And then she pulls out this wad of cloth, which is a cloak, and she hands it over to you and she says, it feels weird, so I have a feeling it's magic, so here you go.
So Az is going to take it, and then this is like at dinner time, right?
Yeah, so we're like everybody's sitting down, and
so you notice that Az he's was eating. Now it's kind of like just this mindless, not really paying attention to the food. He is completely distracted and engrossed, and I'm going to take 10 minutes and try and identify this item.
Okay.
So since this is a divine magic, which I can use Read Aura to get that it's, divine, I will then use the Identify Magic from Religion. Natural 20.
Oh my gosh.
For 30.
Oh my goodness gracious.
So we definitely identify it.
Okay, well, in that time, you guys are sitting and eating, and you're doing your thing. You identify the Shroud of the Afterlife, if you would like to read
So
that.
this is an item that actually was at the end of the last arc. It is a relic. So you use a single action to activate it. You can do it once per day. You shroud yourself with power from beyond the living realm for 1 minute. When it's active, you take on a pallid appearance and gain poison resistance equal to half the relic's level and a +1 status bonus to saving throws against death effects, disease, effects that would make you paralyzed, poison, sleep effects. In addition, your DC for recovery checks from death and dying and all that stuff is 9 rather than 10 plus your dying level.
Okay, well, that's nice.
And the relic level generally is your level.
Oh.
So you gain poison resistance equal to half your level.
Okay. Okay, that's cool. Just so you guys know, Weston is the one that was the GM when this came into play, so I didn't really know what it was.
Yep.
He had just handed it to me and said, we need to identify this. Cool. Okay.
So he gives it back to Anna, and first it tells her what is. He looks is this is divine magic from the boneyard. This is of Pharasma.
Well, isn't that serendipitous? And she reaches out and kind of takes
Well,
it.
it was by the gate.
That's true. It was. It was over by the gate to the boneyard, wasn't it?
It was between the gates to the neutral realms, the maelstrom, the boneyard, and Axis.
Well, all right then.
And so he tells her kind of what it will give you a greater resistance to poison.
Is it like the cloak? Could I fight with it? Does it have a mind of its own?
No.
Oh.
What is the cloak?
It's an old fairy story where there's a cloak and it comes to life and it fights with you and does things.
No.
Okay.
This cloak, so the magic will make it so you are harder to kill and that you recover from ailments.
Oh.
It is filled with life energy.
Okay. Well, thank you. I guess I will wear it when we go out.
If it is of Pharasma, then I think you are the right one.
And she kind of manipulates it a little bit, and the fabric is very soft to the touch, as if it has been very greatly worn, but it has not been worn through. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The fabric's all very, very soft, but it's been very well taken care of. And she kind of puts it over her arm and feels it for a minute and then puts it down and is like, well, I guess I'll have to relearn how to fight with a
cape? Or a cloak, I guess. Well, that's fine.
Right.
That's wonderful, though. Thank you, as very much.
Just
And Farmer Magdalene kind of sits back and she's like, oh, that was a good meal. Good meal. And the three halflings are kind of like starting. You can see they've worked really hard that day and on that gorgeous garden. And can you guys tell I have garden envy? I want a garden. And they all kind of look a little worn out, and it's kind of later in the evening now, and
you notice Az has barely touched his food because she was enthralled by this magical item.
And Chip, kind of being the ringleader that she is, kind of pushes herself up on the table and says, well, I think we should probably, and then Steve reaches out, grabs her and pulls her back down. She's like, no. Chip's like, okay. And Steve says, when are we going to the safe house? The real safe house? And Farmer Magdalene's a little taken aback because Steve hasn't talked much since everybody got here.
And Az definitely is kind of surprised.
And Steve says, "Your and he looks at Farmer you're not Farmer Magdalene. No. Farmer Magdalene. We'll say Farmer Magdalene sitting next to you.
There you go.
And says, I am so thankful for your hospitality, for getting us out. It has been absolutely bizarre to not be in the Citadel anymore. However, when are we going to the actual safe house? The one where we have permanent lives that you guys, you said, and he does look to you as at this point, says, you guys said that we had lives that we were going to be able to go into, that we're not this. And I mean, and then you can see the bluster that he had just moments ago kind of starts to shrink a little bit. And it's like, I would just really like to not be a displaced refugee. And then he goes quiet. And the room's kind of silent there for a second. And then Farmer Magdalene breaks out into laughter. She's like, Steve, that is a fair question. Fair question.
Az would probably, though, any type of behavior outside of normal would make him a little wary. I do want to do a sense motive.
Okay, go ahead.
So that is 11 plus perception, so that's a 23.
Okay. You can tell he is tired. He is emotionally very wary. Not wary, weary.
Okay.
He's tired of not knowing what was happening. The emotional strain of the last couple of days has been really intense on him, and he is definitely wanting to find something that is complete, that is like the end of their journey. They had been promised that they would go somewhere where there were other halflings, organization, village, and this is definitely not it. And it does make them nervous to be as close to Cheliax as they are, because they've all heard the stories of slaves being brought back and what happens to them when they are returned. So Farmer Magdalene reaches a hand out across the table and just kind of puts it on this is not a huge table because this is a house for halflings. She reaches over and she touches Steve's arm and she just says, I understand. And that is one thing that I was going to talk to you about it tomorrow morning, but we can talk about it now. We have a couple of options for where you would like to go. And she goes to the wall and she pulls off the large map that is on the wall, like kind of just pulls it down off of its little placard and brings it over to the table and puts it down in front and says, we have a few areas and you normally wouldn't be given a choice because of our organization is very organized. We know where everyone's going at all times. However, there's been some changes, and so there are some options of where you could go.
Okay, I have a sense motive
Yes.
as she says changes. Dang it, only a 5. That's still a 17.
You hear the hiccup, but you can't really
determine a heck of a lot more than that. Like, you can tell there's something
she's
going
good
on.
at hiding her. Yeah.
But yeah, she's pretty good at hiding what's going on. So she said, so we have a couple of choices, and will you hand me the map really quick?
Yes.
Thank you. Actually, no, just kidding. You can have that back. So for our viewers, the map is in our circle of images. So,
and this is a map from Pathfinder World of Galaria. So.
Yeah, this is a World of Golarion map that I actually wrote upon. I went through it and did all of the merchant roads and the shipping routes and any of the cities and towns. I compiled a whole bunch of them because in Pathfinder there are a lot of different versions of maps. There's Old Cheliax, there's the Old Taldor Empire, and so I had to compile a bunch of stuff. So this is one that I compiled myself to make sure that it was as accurate as possible.
Yep.
So Farmer Magdalene, looking down at the map, she points up to a very small little town near the north of the country, and it's called Brinemore.
Okay.
Just to the east of Kintargo. And she says, Brinemore is, on paper, a human establishment that has been here for a very long time. However, in reality, it is a halfling village, and it is where a lot of our freed slaves go to recuperate and to find peace.
As far from Cheliax as you can go in Ravenel.
Yes. You could go to Vire, but that's not technically in Ravenel.
No.
The other place that we do have is even farther north. It's not in the country of Ravenel at all. However, we have not had... We've not had the greatest luck.
Where is it?
It's farther up north, and she kind of gives you the shut up thing and says, so we can send you farther north if you would like, but our best situation would be to go to Brinemore in the north.
Az is going to pipe in at that time and say, I have heard of Brinemore from other members of the network. It is a good place.
And Anna's like, absolutely.
Az looks at Anna being like, don't try.
And the three halflings, I'm not even going to make Anna roll for deception on that one
No,
because she has none.
I guess I should roll for deception on myself.
Yeah.
On that, which I did get 9, and I do have an 11, so I still have 20.
Yeah. They believe you, and they have a predisposition to believing you anyway.
Yes.
So she does, or they do kind of like look at each other, and they look at Farmer Magdalene, and they're like, well, I guess we'll go there. That's fine. Is there any reason we shouldn't? And Magdalene says, no. It's a wonderful, wonderful place. It's just very far from here. If you wanted to go farther north, we could take the sea route and go that direction farther north, which is a little bit closer. You wouldn't have to travel through forests, but yes. So let's go there. Let's go to Brinemore. That's a good idea. And you can tell. Give me a.
Yeah, I'm wanting
check.
to because I'm.
I know that face. Was that a 1? Was that a 1, babe?
It's a 1.
Oh, that was a 1.
Which plus 11 is still 12.
Okay. Yeah, you don't really. You have no idea what's going on.
Where's that hero point? Where's that hero point? You never give me my hero point.
Sorry, here's your hero.
Give me my freaking hero points.
Here's your hero point.
There. There's my hero point. Take it. I do not want to win on this. Come on.
Okay.
Come on. I wish I could have you blow on the dice.
Do you want something that's a little bit easier to roll on?
What do we got? Do we have one of them? Oh, yay. I was looking for one of these.
I don't know where our other one went.
Natural 20.
Are you serious?
Boom diggity.
Jeez Louise.
Go from the nat 1 to the nat 20. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So that is a 31.
Yeah.
Tell it to me, baby.
That's a critical success. In your experience.
That was a good use of a hero point.
I know, jeez. In your experience through your espionage and your ability to read people and figure out what's going on, you have a Sherlock Holmes moment. And you realize she is desperately trying to keep, like, everything away from Kintargo. She does not want to go to Kintargo. She does not want the halflings to go to Kintargo. And she is very much kind of pushing this idea of maybe going somewhere else.
So she's trying to make them go north?
She's wanting them to go north, like farther north.
She's not wanting them in Brymore?
No.
Oh, okay.
So she's not, and it's not even Brymore that's the issue. It's Kintargo. It's fairly close to Kintargo. And the little bit that Alea did tell you previously, you think it might have something to do with that.
Az is going to then, sensing this, say, well, the farther you are from Cheliax, the harder you could be to find. Is there anywhere else that you think might be better than far north?
Who are you asking that question?
To Magdalene.
And she looks back down on the map and she says, we do have a few settlements that we could go to. They're not full settlements of halflings, though. And we have found that for recovery purposes, it's better to be with halflings. So let's just plan for the moment, and you can kind of see she's kind of like, crap, there's really nothing else that I can give them right now.
So it's not that, it is honestly that at the moment, Brymore is the best option, but she just doesn't like its proximity.
Proximity to Kintargo at the moment.
Okay.
So she it's like she kind of wants them to go north, but kind of doesn't, and knows that Brymore is probably the best place for them, but Kintargo is making her nervous right now.
Gotcha. Okay.
So she kind of relents and just says, okay, does Brymore is probably the best place for you to go. Is that amenable, I guess? And the other three halflings just kind of look between each other, and Steve says, well, if it's a halfling community and it's other people who were slaves like us, then yeah, that's fine. And so she takes the map and she kind of goes back and puts it back up on the wall and says, okay, that is about a 9-day journey from here. So we will need to prepare to go north. And she looks at you and Anna and says, I am assuming that you are planning to come with us? Unless, and she looks to Anna and says, unless Lady Hell Knight has something else she would like to do. And Anna just sits back and says, I'm as much of a freed slave as any of them, so I have nowhere else to go.
Well, look, back, I go where the order, where the network needs me. That is where I have always been.
Yes.
And then he looks like, yeah. Then he looks kind of at her intensely. The Citadel was a very dangerous place. I do not shy away from danger.
No, as I know you don't. And she kind of she definitely gets what you're laying down. Mm-hmm. She picks it up. Puts the map back on the wall, turns around, and very quickly, knowing that this conversation can no longer be avoided,
ushers the halflings back into the back room and begins giving them instructions on things that they're going to need for the journey ahead, for the long journey ahead. And you and Anna are once again kind of left
with Magdalene.
Well, you're left alone as she's doing this. So if you have anything you want to say to Anna or whatever without Magdalene there. If not,
he'll look at Anna. Although I know that the network will help, it is sometimes not bad to negotiate. We could use your help, and if you negotiated for certain assistance, it would not be looked upon unfavorably.
So you want me to leverage my sword for help to find my sister?
Yes.
You could have just said that.
Again, I am what I am.
That has never been a truer statement. And then Farmer Magdalene begins to walk back down the hall and comes back and sits down at the table. I am including in this time that dinner was cleaned up.
Yeah.
And put away. Everybody chipped in on that before the halflings were kind of ushered into the back room.
Yep.
And with that, we are going to take a break.
Okay.
So we are going to take a 10-minute break. I have got to go to the restroom and get a drink, maybe some tea. But don't go anywhere. We will be back in 10 minutes to hear what story Farmer Magdalene has to tell about the missing leader of the Bellflower Network and what is going on in Cantargo.
Yes.
So, see you guys in about 10.
See you in 10.
Hello, and welcome back. I hope you had a good break. We had a good break. I ate a very small apple and drank a protein shake.
You were hungry?
I was. It's not my fault. Please wait for technical prowess over there. Our tech guy. So I just realized that the music had not been going in the first half of the show, and I could not figure out why it felt weird. And that was it. But
now set the mood.
Mood is now set.
All right.
So as we join our intrepid adventurers again, they are all sitting down currently to have a conversation about what is going on in Cantargo.
What to do. All right.
Okay.
Halflings are in bed. She just came back.
Yep, the halflings are in bed. She just came back to sit at the table, and she comes in and sees you and Anna sitting, both looking quite expectantly at her. And she kind of bristles a little bit, but comes in to sit down and takes a seat at the head of the table, which is not lost on you as the meaning of that.
Bit of a power move.
A little bit of a power move by Farmer Magdalene. And she sits down and says, all right. And she looks at you and says, what did Alea tell you?
She told me that there may be some issue that is in need of possible help, which is what I do. What?
Now the music is distracting me. Skip to the next track. I need to take this track out of the lineup. Much better. Thank you, my love. So she says, yes, these things are true, but I need to know exactly what she told you because I need to know what holes I need to fill in.
She told me that the agent, Kira. That was not Kira?
Tara.
Tara, thank you. I heard it wrong. Tara, that is in Cantago, that you have not heard from her. That she has gone silent.
Is that all?
And that someone needs to go there soon.
Right, that woman always sticking her nose where it doesn't belong. Right. Okay. So, in the last few months, our leadership has been having trouble. You know of the group that did not make it out of Citadel and Frack.
Yes.
And that was not an isolated incident. We don't know if they're all connected, but we have had more and more missions that have been either sabotaged or cut short or just flat out unsuccessful. Well, wait until you hear it all, and then
yeah.
I will get your thoughts. So that's been happening all over, not just in Cheliax, but in Nidal and in Iskar, in all of the countries around us that are dealing with slavery on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah.
We have noticed a significant uptake. The situation with Terra Cylinder is different. Do you know of Terra? Has anyone spoken to you of her in the past?
Can I do kind of recall knowledge?
Yeah, do kind of a recall knowledge.
Can I use my underworld lore?
Yes.
On this?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. It's a 12 plus 10, so 22.
Nice. Okay. You do know her name. She is a very high, not as high as Farmer Magdalene, but she is a very high-ranking official.
She'd be a farmer.
Yeah, she is a farmer, but she does not go by a title within the network because her main mission for all of it, no matter what she's doing, where she is espionage.
Gotcha.
It is to be under the radar. She is spoken of in whispers and in rumor.
She's the ghost.
She's the ghost. However, because Farmer Magdalene is the leader of the organization, she knows Terra very well. And so you know all of this.
Yeah.
You know everything that I just said. So yes, you know her. So Farmer Magdalene continues with the conversation, and she says, Terra has, I don't want to say gone missing, because it's not unheard of. This is why Alea believes this is a larger issue than I think it is. Alea believes that there is something nefarious afoot, but Terra goes on missions and goes silent for swaths of time, and she always comes back with an explanation.
From what I saw of it's Alea? Alea. She is a powerful user of magic.
That she
and
is.
Seems to know things. Is she wrong regularly?
No, she is not.
Is there reason to doubt her?
Other than the fact that she doesn't know Terra? No. But that's the issue that I have with this situation, is that this is not an unheard of thing for Terra, but in all honesty, all the cards on the table, I do think it feels different. But I don't feel she has gone long enough to be really concerned. And at this point, Anna pipes up and says, so she's missing, and she looks at you as and says, how, you guys are all speaking as if she's been gone for a long time. How long has she been missing? Father Magdalene just kind of is quiet and looks at you as and says, did Alea tell you how long she's been missing?
Not that I can recall.
And Father Magdalene looks at Anna and says, she's been gone for 3 days. Amend that. She was supposed to check in 3 days ago.
When
And
was
she
her
did not.
last check-in before that?
And Anna looks at you and says, that's exactly what I was thinking. And Father Magdalene says, I heard from her last approximately 2 weeks ago. We go about 2 weeks between check-ins because of the amount of time it takes to send messages.
Yeah. That is not unheard of.
So it is possible, and Anna kind of leans in and says, interrupts Farmer Magdalene and says, it is possible she could have been gone at this point for over 2 weeks and you would not know. And Magdalene just, look, this is not your organization. She's saying this to Anna. This is my organization. And if I need to be worried, I will be worried. And then she looks at you as and says, the reason I didn't want to get you involved is you have already done so much. You have done so much for this organization. You have sacrificed so much for us. I wanted to give you something small. I was going to have you escort the halflings to Briarmore or Brinemoor and to enjoy a little time off.
Magdalene, I want you to look at me. You know me. Am I going to fit in the small halfling village?
No.
I have
but
lived in the city my whole life. I do not farm. I do not
think that you would. I just wanted to give you a chance to just be for a little bit.
Sure. To be or not to be is not the question. I could not myself. The question is, where am I needed? Magdalene, this is the first time I am free. I do not know what to do with freedom. I need purpose. I need something to do. If you leave me in the middle of a small village, I will go nuts.
I believe you. I believe you. I really do. I had wanted to give you the opportunity to do something different other than risk your life and limb for the Bellflower Network.
Where does the network need me most? Where does it need my skills?
She leans back and looks at you. I want you to make a diplomacy check.
Yeah. Come on, Dicey. That's a 1. Plus 11 makes 12, but natural 1 makes it an automatic failure.
Sheila, Farmer Magdalene leans back in her chair, and she definitely has more of an attitude of, I'm not getting you involved. At which point, Anna pipes in and says, Farmer Magdalene, did you have any idea what I was doing before? What my official duties were at the Citadel? I'm assuming Az did not tell you. And Farmer Magdalene kind of just thinks for a second, says, he had just told me that you were
The Hell Knight. I saw what you were doing, obviously, on the mission. And she says, exactly. I was on a mission to find missing people. Interesting how I was just doing that. And Farmer Magdalene kind of smirks and says, yes, and you did seem to be quite good at your job.
And Az is going to, hearing this and looks over to Anna and says, Anna, have you ever been to Kintargo?
No, Az. In fact, I have not
it is
been to
a
Kintargo.
gorgeous city. I think it is a great place for vacation.
You want to go on vacation in Kintargo?
Yes, definitely. And
All
it
right.
looks at,
I think that is a fantastic plan.
he looks at Magdalene and in just kind of smirking is like, I am free, no?
You are?
Well then, I have always wanted to see the capital. Kind of gives a smirk.
Please understand something, Az. And she looks at you pretty intensely. If you go this direction, there is no getting out. Not in a creepy Godfather way, but it's a play. It's a good play.
He looks at,
You'll get sucked in. This is what happens.
he turns to looks at Magdalene dead in the eye. I was sucked in the moment I saw Cowl stealing. Where else would I go? What else would I do?
I don't know.
This
That's
has
the
been
point
my
of
life
but
for
that's the point
more
of
than
freedom.
2 decades.
That is the point of freedom.
The point of freedom is to do something with your freedom. And if I had intimidation as a skill, I'd use it.
You don't need to
I didn't think I do. Nope, I don't have intimidation.
And Anna leans, kind of pipes in as well and says, look, Magdalene, I understand what you're trying to get at here. I get it. I really do. You want to protect. That is your nature. That's why you began the Bellflower Network to begin with. But please understand, this is not a thing that we're not going to do. However, and she gives you as a kind of pointed look, if we're going to do this, which we will, I need your help. Farmer Magdalene kind of crinkles a little bit. She's like, what do you need? I have a sister. And she's looking at you as this for like reassurance. Like, this is okay? Like, literally, I never talk about this.
He's gonna nod.
I have a sister. Her name is Sia. We were separated when I was 10. She's 8. She is not a tiefling. So most likely, as has told me, she was sold into slavery. So I would like you to use your extensive information and find her, if possible.
Az is gonna look at Magdalene and using his diplomacy, he is going to kind of lay out the situation with the Order of the Pyre was doing a inquisition. Her family did not worship approved deities.
And you see Farmer Magdalene's face kind of go almost deadpan because she knows what that means. Go ahead and do your diplomacy.
Oh, that time was better. That's a 19 plus
Oh, jeez.
11, so that's a 30.
Okay, so everything that you say
Yeah.
holds a lot of weight from here.
So, yeah, you know what they do. Her sister was not a tiefling, nothing of import, but was of good stock, was not injured, no deformity. Looked at Anna, and, kind of asking.
No, she's fine. She was perfect.
What do you think the Order would do with such an individual?
Well, if it was the Order of the Pyre that took her, she would have been sold immediately.
Ja. And what do we do but rescue slaves?
You're right. We do have an extensive network. We could find her most likely if she is still alive.
Ja.
And she looks at Anna and says, I'll do this. But not because you are willing to go to Cantargo against my desires. But I will do this because of what you've already done. And Anna kind of nods and sits back. And then Farmer Magdalene looks at you and says, if you're going to do this,
Yeah.
if you really want to go do this, you will have the full weight of the Bellflower Network behind you. I will get you in where you need to be and get connected to the people you need to be connected with. However, please understand, you are not going to be hidden. Do you understand? I can't hide this.
When have I ever been able to hide this?
I know, I'm just wanting you to understand that we don't have cloaks of disguise. We don't have circlets of invisibility.
And as she says this, Az smiles, puts his hand on Anna, and then suddenly, let me check my spell book real quick. I've got too much stuff in front of me at the moment. I haven't practiced one bit. He touches her and then puts his hand over his face and says, "And there's the Gestalt." And suddenly he looks like Anna. Everything just kind of changes and morphs.
And Anna's like, whoa! Whoa! What just happened?
As I cast the exchange image, where I get to take on the appearance of a target. However, I don't get to take on their voice.
So it's just an appearance.
Yes, it's just appearance. So it's still my voice coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And so he looks at her. I know how to hide this. And he puts his hands up and touches the horns.
So is it a physical thing? Like it can be touched. It's not just an illusion. It can be physically manipulated.
See, it depends on. It says you trade appearance with the target. You take on the target's appearance, and they take yours. Oh.
So Anna now looks like you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't realize that it gave them my image. I read the spell slightly wrong, but okay.
Okay. So Anna now looks like you, and Farmer Magdalene says, "This didn't solve the problem, as you are still here."
And so then I dispel it. I dispel it for a moment, and then say, "Very well." I touch her hand real quick, cast it another time.
Do you have to touch them to do it?
I believe so. Its range is touch.
Okay.
So I touch her hand real quick, zoom, and then I cast it again. And there is the Gestalt. And then I now am a halfling, and I look like her.
That is freaky. Stop it.
I know how to hide myself. You do not need to hide me.
Yeah.
And then he just, lets it go again. She goes back, and all of a sudden she was taller, and now she's her
She
height
goes
is
back
again.
to her halfling height. So she looks. She's kind of like, all right. You can. You've proven yourself. Thank you. So then she looks at Anna and says, If you guys are going to go, which I should no longer say if you are going, we will need. We will all travel together up to Kintargo, and from there I will take the halflings to Brynmore. Agreed?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she does look at Anna at this point and says, you need to protect him. And Anna's like, he doesn't really need protection. He kind of can handle himself unless it's against like a fey folk or something.
Do
And
not
then he
bring
can't-
that up again.
They both kind of giggle a little bit and smile and say, no, that's not what I'm talking about, Anna. And she does take a minute and really, really looks at Anna and says, I need you to protect him from society, not physical. Because while he is wonderful at espionage and he is wonderful at evasion and he is wonderful at all of these amazing things, he gets a lot of unwanted attention. And you can see Anna is very, very confused. She is legitimately not understanding what's happening right now. And so Farmer Magdalene can tell that she's
not looking at me at all. She's just looking at Magdalene.
She's looking at Anna.
No, Magdalene's not. I mean, Anna's not looking at me.
No, Anna's not looking
okay.
at you.
All right.
And so she's looking straight at Farmer Magdalene. She's very confused. She doesn't understand what Farmer Magdalene is saying. So Magdalene looks at you and is like, little help, please? You know, I don't understand how she doesn't get it.
Is Anna looking at me?
Anna's now looking at you.
Do you want to do a sense motive on me? Kind of just.
Yeah, let's do
Just,
her only roll for the night. Oh, that's a 19. Oh, snap.
It's your perception, so it's plus like.
So plus 9.
9?
So it's
Yeah.
28.
Az is super uncomfortable.
Like bright
red, trying to sink into his chair, trying to not be here at the moment. Which, by the way, I did notice I have a hat that lets me cast illusory disguise instead of exchange. So that way I just take on an image.
Okay, cool. That makes sense.
But, yeah, super uncomfortable.
Super embarrassed. And
he's not looking at Anna. He's looking at
And-
the table. He's looking at Magdalene.
Are you're really not okay? So then she looks at Anna and she's about to spell it out. She said, Asmirs are the perfected version of whatever race they were born into. Do you get it now? And Anna looks at you and is like, do you mean the fact that he's attractive?
Do you remember the first time we spoke?
Yes, I remember.
I mean,
that.
not after I treated your wounds,
No, I
but
don't
in the
count that.
medical.
Yes, in the medical. I asked you to come into the medicine cabinet so that
Yeah.
we could discuss I could try and get you to help me, which you were very resistant to.
Yes. You asked me to be alone with you in the storeroom.
Yes.
He looks at Magdalene.
Anna legitimately
And then he's
does
like-
not understand what's going on right
He's
now.
like, not sure what the...
And then Magdalene just kind of looks at you. She's like, "Do you want me to explain it?" She's really. I cannot believe she doesn't get it.
Yeah, he looks at Anna, and then is like, I get unwanted sexual advances from men and women on a consistent basis.
And like you can see the wheels in her head are turning, and she's like, it's like she's putting two and two together and she's figuring it out, because up to this point in her life, she's basically been an asexual being. She has been in survival mode constantly. She doesn't have that. She has not moved on out of survival to even think about anything romantic.
He continues. The first time that someone in the nobility approached Titus to purchase me for an evening, I was 14.
Are you serious?
Thankfully enough, he worried that it would cause issues with his experiments. And so I was lucky that he never acquiesced. But it was an issue.
All right, so that explains a few things. And Magdalene is over there, hand over her mouth, trying so hard not to laugh. It's like not that the subject matter is funny, but that Anna like is that freaking like dim when it comes to this. And Anna sits back with kind of more of a discerning eye, like the eye of like an artist or something. And she does take in your physical appearance and seeing that you are very symmetrical with great nose and nice solid cheekbones and a nice jaw. And she's kind of like, all right, I can see it now.
Which now, with her looking at him like that, he starts getting kind of uncomfortable. He's kind of like, stop looking at me, stop looking at me, stop looking at me.
Exactly. So now that she gets it, she's like, so you, Magdalene, you need me to protect him from the ladies, as it were. Magdalene just smiles and she says, just don't let him be alone with anyone. Because an Asmir is a great prize. So, just know that. Az, do you have anything you would like to say?
No. That is enough. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So, Kintargo is the city.
This is what you need to know about Terra. Her last mission, it had involved a pencil.
I got
It
my
involved
pencil.
a pencil, right? It involved a rumor that had begun to be spread of individuals being taken that seemed to be loosely related to the Bellflower Network within Kintargo. People that weren't high enough ranking that they would be a major hole missing, but they were individuals that would help us ferry people or members of the underground.
Were they people that would be missed by society?
Not without people knowing that they were missing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So they weren't they weren't the homeless. They weren't. They all had established homes and lives, but they were not. Are not people that we would. Society in general would work.
Yeah.
So she was looking into that kind of a situation. There'd also been some rumblings of information from a few of the more seedy underbelly members of the Kintargo Society, which range from, the top echelon and the lower dregs as well, that she was investigating, that there might be some connection that she could find from the cartels that are still in operation in Kintargo.
Ravenel is new enough country at this point still that...
Wait, so clarification here.
Yes.
So there were rumblings in the underbelly of what though? Like in the cartels
That there might be some information that she could use, that the Bellflower Network could use.
And that was the last communication.
Yes. Tara was going to be meeting with a few of the members of the cartel, the main cartel in Cantargo, and that was the last I had heard.
Do you have names?
No, unfortunately, I do not. All I know is it was called the Nightwing organization, the Nightwing gang, something like that. And you can tell she doesn't totally remember what the name of it was.
Can I roll underworld lore?
Yes.
I'll see if I've heard of them. It's a 17.
Oh, jeez.
Plus, my underworld lore is a 10, so that is a 27.
Okay. All right. So the Nightwing gang. I mean, it's a group of individuals that are at the organization leaders are rumored to be at the very top of Cantargo society. They are a part of the council of Cantargo, which is why they have been having issues with things like slaves being taken back to Cheliax and whatnot. That's what the rumor is that the head of this cartel, this group, this gang, I don't know what word to use for it, but they're in the top of
Government, of society.
And of government.
Are we thinking that they are trading in?
It is possible.
Gotcha.
Which is why, and Farmer Magdalene says, this is why we thought that possibly they would have the information that we need about what's happening within our organization, within our network.
They are also the same people, though, who would be turning us in.
Yes. Tara knew the risk.
Ja.
She and I discussed it before she left, the possibility of needing to speak with these people. They are not an unknown element.
No, I have heard.
But this is what her mission was. This is what she was looking at. This is what she is good at. She is much like you, Az. She knows how to get information out of people. And then she looks at Anna and says, this is where you will need to come in to keep him safe. If you are going into the top echelons of society to try and route out what happened, you will need her. And Anna kind of is now a little uncomfortable herself.
He looks over at Anna. He's like, she's right. I cannot, I can disguise myself. But I will need backup. And at times, in a back alley brawl, I am not the most,
Sturdy?
fair. Fair.
And Anna kind of raps the table and she says, I am all for it, especially if it involves taking down some corrupt individuals at the top of government. But please understand that and she's looking at Magdalene at this point, she says, my first and foremost goal of coming out of Cheliax is to find my sister. So if you find information, I will want that immediately. And I have sworn no oath. Just please be aware. And Farmer Magdalene just nods and says, I would never expect you to do anything more than what you feel comfortable with doing.
As at this moment will also looks over at Anna. Anna, you mentioned at one time that you had a greater need than just an issue with slavery for working against Cuthwaldwin in the souls.
What about it? And she, give me a perception check. Or
It's only a 4, so 16.
You can tell she's uncomfortable talking about this.
Is that... Do you still feel that?
I don't understand what you're asking me.
You seemed motivated in a stronger sense to stop him. You do not need to tell me the nature, but am I right?
I was given a task by my patron to stop him.
What do you mean by your patron?
Who do you think I am talking about as?
He looks over at Farmer Magdalene.
She kind of looks at you like, I don't know what she's talking about.
You're talking of Pharasma herself.
Yes. She came to me and asked, in her way, to stop him.
And
So I know eventually I will have to go back and stop whatever it is that he is doing. But for the moment, I just need to be away.
There's one thing I've learned serving here in the network is that even a small person at the right moment can strike even at those much larger and more powerful.
No, he is more powerful. He absolutely
Yeah.
took all of my plans and threw them in the dirt in about half a second.
Magdalene, can you keep me appraised through the normal means of what happens in Enferak?
Absolutely.
There is
Excuse me.
most like
Absolutely. However, please know you were our contact within the Citadel.
yes.
So we will be much slower getting information than we would have previously.
He looks to Anna for her opinion as well. I do not think that they are going to be quiet about it.
No, I do not believe they will be. And if they've sent anyone after us, it won't be quiet either.
Yeah.
They are not the subterfuge espionage type. They are the come in, kill everyone, and take what's left.
You never met any of the listeners, did you?
Oh, they creep me out.
Yeah, I have. Believe me, they can be quiet when they want to be, and they are in your mind before you know it. But
Great, now I'm not going to sleep.
they will not be quiet, Magdalene. So, simply send on what you hear.
I will. I will send you anything that we hear about it. And you had previously discussed this with her, correct?
Yeah,
Like,
I
what
think
was
we've
going
given
on?
her kind of the gist of what
Yeah.
was going on.
Yeah, this is something that is going to be very attentively watched. So you don't need to worry about that. And we will send you any information that we do have. And she kind of looks up at the clock and looks out the window and says, if we're leaving tomorrow for Contargo, we should probably go to bed.
Yeah.
This is not
Yes.
going to be a short journey. And she kind of looks back at the map and she does a real quick calculation and she says, it's going to be about 6.5 days of
Yeah.
travel for us to Contargo, and then I will continue on to Brinemore with the halflings.
How many miles a day?
About between 16 to 20, depending on how fast we can go.
She sees Az kind of face, kind of like, oh.
Don't worry. It'll be fine.
We have a cot, right?
I will let you ponder on that.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm sorry. A cart is too loud and too boisterous.
And you and Anna and Magdalene can both tell, like, he's just kind of like deflating.
Like, oh no.
Over there.
Oh no. Don't. And she kind of reaches out to reassure you, and she touches your hand and says, it's going to be fine. We have made this trek with very little. There are towns along the way. There are places for us to stop. It isn't 6 days straight of nothing but walking.
That is not my well, that is good, but I served as the personal servant of a very wealthy man. I did not walk 16 miles a day. On the average, I rode in carriages and we teleported.
Right
This is
oh my gosh. Anna's dying right now. She's like
he's like looking down at his shoes. They're like, it's kind of like he's wearing fancy shoes
like
here.
nice shoes. And Anna's just like, well, I believe we finally found something that you are not all that good at.
This and surviving a fey creature.
Apparently. And she's like, don't worry. You will be fine. We will carry you if we have to.
Excuse me, I have some preparations for tomorrow. And you see him pull out his spell book and go over and start looking at what spells do I know that will help me walk this far. Unfortunately, Phantom Steed is an arcane spell, so it comes from it would come from my sorcerer levels that I can only adjust every level, not my divine spell tree, which I can change out every day.
Well, you
dang it.
Anna and Farmer Magdalene have a very good boisterous laugh at your expense. And Magdalene stands up and says, I am going to go to bed. I will see you all in the morning. And she turns around and she goes very quietly, very stealthily. She goes down the hall and opens the door to the halfling room and shuts it behind her. And Anna just kind of finishing up a giggle. She stands up and she just kind of pats you on the shoulder a little bit. And she says, look, it really will be okay, I promise. The second day is the worst, but you'll be fine. And then she says to Az, her tone changes and it's a little bit more serious, and she says, thank you. I don't think I've said that yet through all of this. And now that we're actually leaving and going somewhere different, I thought I would tell you that, and if we find anything out about my sister, it will be because of you. So thank you.
He looks up at her. Last night, you asked about my family. Not my birth parents, but my family.
Yeah.
They are elsewhere. In Chiliax.
You haven't gotten them out?
They have not been where I was. So I understand your plight. And when we can, you look as he gets also like very serious. I will be honest, I have always been, since they were sold, I have been far from them, and the idea of being able to find them and freeze them has been not I thought I had. And I guess now I can. So I will help you find your sister, and when the time comes, you help me find my family.
Absolutely. I promise. And with that, she gives your shoulder another little pat, and she walks back to the room, having gathered all of her things that had been kind of strewn on the table.
And As pulls back out his book and starts again, like looking furiously for something. And I am seriously right now looking through my spells, like, do I have anything that will help me walk?
Yep. And with that, everyone goes to bed, and we will end tonight's session.
Already?
Yeah.
Oh.
I kind of figured you didn't want to start on the big thing at 10:30 at night. If you want to start,
It's up to you.
We are not starting that tonight. That's going to be a very long thing. No.
Fine. Well, thank you all for jumping on tonight.
Thank you so much, you guys, for jumping on and joining our fairly emotionally charged session.
A lot of roleplay
tonight. A lot of roleplay tonight. There were quite a few rolls. There's a lot of roleplay. Quite a few rolls.
Oh, Reaper wants to see some new terrain. Next.
Okay. I can guarantee you, Reaper, that is happening tonight.
I mean, not tonight.
Not tonight. Next week.
Next stream.
100% promise you next stream that is coming out. The Glass Canyon will be making an appearance. But yes, so if you have found any value in what you've watched tonight and you haven't already followed us, please smash that follow button, the little heart, and you'll stay up to date on every time we go live, which we do Monday nights at 8:30, where we talk about terrain, tabletops, and tabletop games and other games as well. Apparently Marvel movies, because that came up a lot last night.
We talk about storytelling.
We talk a lot about storytelling and GMing and whatnot. And then, of course, Tuesday nights here, we do our normal campaign.
So yeah. If you jumped on midway through the stream, it is immediately available on Twitch. Tonight's episode will be available on Friday on video on demand on YouTube. Please, if you are new to the stream, please follow. We are hoping to get soon to that affiliate so we can start having people that subscribe.
Seriously, you guys, I have like an entire page of stuff that we're going to be doing, so please hit
Also,
affiliate.
below, donate, please. We have the link down below to donate to the
Utah Parent Center for assistance with children that have parents who have children with autism.
So, and if that's everything,
I think
then
that's all. We love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging with us for the last couple of hours.
And remember, it only takes two.
Good night.